We're back today with another video. This time we're going to be kind of going over just kind of a build breakdown of what we've done to our 82 K5 Blazer that is two-wheel drive. We're going to kind of give a backstory of like how we got it, what we've done to it, you know, suspension wise, wheels and tires, interior. Kind of just doing a quick rundown of, I guess, what we've done to it, because we built this thing, or started it. It's not completely done yet, but started about almost 4 years ago now, back in 2018. And so, yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. Like we said, this is an 82 K5, of it being the last year of the two-wheel drive K5 Blazers. We learned that from buying this, and we didn't know a whole lot about Blazers before we bought it.
Just started doing some research, and
yeah, I've done some research on it last year for two-wheel drive, and
these grills are 81 and 2 only, so.
I don't mind the parking lots and the bumper.
Or the bumper guards, I like them personally on this.
They look all right. So like we said, this is 82 K5 last year, so if it's anything past that, it's going to be someone's either swapped a four-wheel drive over to a two-wheel drive, or you can swap those grills on these from 81 to 7, and they'll fit in with that. So kind of a backstory on how we acquired this K5. We got it off of one of our neighbors. He brought it in, and our dad ended up buying it from him.
Yeah, he kind of trades and wheels and deals.
So we got this, I think, in the summer of 2017. It was in very rough shape when we got it, and
interior mostly.
Yeah, interior was terrible. It was trashed. We'll throw some pictures up. We've got some, but we didn't take a whole lot then. That's been 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Well, it's coming up on 5 years when we actually bought it, but by the time we got it done, it'd be almost 4 years. So we picked it up. I mean, it was reasonably priced at that time. These things wasn't near as popular as they were now, or they are now. And so we pick it up, and then I didn't like it when we first got it. I hated the thing. You know, I kind of questioned why we bought it. And so I just didn't think about it much there for several months after we got it. Like, it just sat there, and I didn't know what we were going to do with it. And we were thinking, you know, whatever we had to do to it, it had to be painted and then do it. Like, you couldn't lower it. And
yeah, we thought it had to be slicked out for it to look right.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to look right. Like, we thought at that time, you know, it's like,
which back then the patinaed scene, it really wouldn't. It ain't nowhere near like it is now, you know.
Yeah, and so you know, the more we thought about it, I think later on that year, so we bought it in the summer. And I think by that Christmas we decided, like, you know, what if we just left it like it is, the body, and then redo the inside and lower it, put some wheels and tires on it. And so we got all that stuff ordered that year, or we got all that stuff ordered around that time. And so then the spring break of my senior year of high school was when we brought it in the shop down there that week, and we lowered it, put the wheels and tires on it, we stripped the interior out of it. This is really what started everything else for us, as far as everything else in your life. As far as the square body stuff, you know, we wasn't really big into square bodies then. You know, I was a senior in high school, and you were.
I was freshman.
Yeah, so we didn't know much. We wasn't into them that much at that time, and so after we done this that week, it's like that kind of led us to everything else we're doing now. So that's kind of a quick rundown of that, of how we got into it. And this here this really started it all. And so
I mean, this was here before everything, other than the Chevelle, but
yeah. And so this thing here has taught us a whole lot about these trucks, and, like, you know, what to look for in them,
and just really like introduced us into the whole thing.
Yeah, you know, that's only been 4 years ago since we finished it. So like we said earlier, it is patinaed, and so I mean, it's all right for what it is. I mean,
yeah, there's better looking patinaed trucks, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, for what we're gonna do with it, just driving it, it's fine, I think. As far as the body on this K5, it's exactly like it was when we got it. The only thing we done to it was it had the big diamond plate running boards on it. We took all them off, and everything else we've left the same on it. As far as it's rust free,
I mean, completely rust
completely
free.
rust free. We've had complete carpet, everything out to the down to the floorboards and everything. It's all,
There wasn't any surface rust on the floor, nothing. I mean, it is.
we've been underneath it on lift looking at it. I mean, it's an extremely solid K5. And then as far as straight, the whole thing's straight other than the hood and the rear quarter on that side it's got some damage on it. Something hit it at some point. So this thing has had a repaint on it at some point. I have no idea where and when. And when they did repaint it though, the top of this right here down to here is supposed to be white. They repainted red.
Well, I mean, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I
don't
kind of like
care.
it.
I mean, it looks all right to me. And I'm not too for sure whoever painted this painted it back the factory color red. But
Yeah.
I guess back then they didn't necessarily paint it back factory colors. They more painted just what they had probably, and it was probably close, so they just used it. And so, yeah, getting around to here. And we didn't mention this. It's a Silverado package. It's got power windows, locks, tilt wheel, cruise.
Delay wipers.
Yeah, it's got pretty much everything you can get on them. So it's got the rear sliding back glass. That still works. We'll get the key out. Show that.
It also has the sliders in the side too, which at first
Yeah, we're kind of back and forth on them. We were originally going to put the flat ones in it, but then
we just got to looking at it, and these sliding glasses
it's
just
got to where most of them you looked at had the flat ones, and then I was like, well, this just fits it too well not to, and so still works. This thing gave us a few scares here and there, like at one point, you roll it down and you're hoping it goes back up, but sometimes it has scared us. It hadn't yet not rolled back up, but I think with these things, they've got to be grounded when you shut them, and this side sometimes won't latch all the way. You have to like hold it and then roll it back up, but I mean, it hadn't let us down. It hadn't let us down yet.
40-year-old. I mean,
yeah, it's 40 years old. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, that's all the original stuff, and not for sure on that. But
and all we've done is grease it. So
yeah, we took it apart or took the panel off, greased everything up, and it's working fine. So
that was actually one of the selling points too, that it still worked.
Yeah, before we unloaded it and rolled the window up and down, it still worked. So something else back here, it's got a hitch on it, which we were going to take the hitch off at first.
It was kind of a joke,
Yeah,
you know.
it kind of turned into a joke, and then we just ended up leaving it on there, and so it has been drug a couple times. Like with coming out of the place with an incline, it's
you just got to scrape it every now and then. You know?
Yeah, and something else is that our sticker that was left on here.
Senior center parking.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah, we're not gonna take that off. We're just gonna leave that on there. Like we said, this quarter here was the only one, or the really only dented place on the whole thing. I mean,
it's not terrible.
no, it's not bad. It's double walled right there, and you can't get in there behind it. And
We're gonna try to massage it out as much as we can, but getting to it's gonna be
yeah, it's
hard
gonna be pretty tough to get to it right there. I don't think you can get it from the inside. You might can, so we'll find out later on when we get into it. We'll get with that. And so the rest of this side, I mean, it's all right. This fender here, what either happened some time ago, it was been wrecked in this front right corner, bumped lightly. Then lighted her hard enough to put a fender on it, but other than that, everything else, suspension, frame, everything was fine.
It seems like they left the original bumper on it too and just straightened it out.
Yeah, but this fender was either They either took a used fender back then and painted it red and it's faded a different color. They didn't paint it the right color then, or they just found a truck with a red fender and just threw it on here. And so that's what I'm more leaning to. They found one that was close.
Yeah.
And just pulled it off another one and put on here. And so we're eventually, I plan on trying to go back and kind of matching that up with the rest of it. Not having to do anything to the rest of this thing because I like it how it is. And then up here on the front of the hood, it's got a bunch of like marks up here. People we've talked to that's seen this thing has actually told us they think a horse done that. And
I mean, I can't tell them any different.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about what horses would do to vehicles, and so I hadn't been around many horses and stuff, so I can't say if it is or not.
But it sounds good to me. So
Yeah, but I mean, it's not bad. I've seen worse. So.
yeah, I'd rather have it like that than completely rusted through.
Yeah. So the main question we get on this thing is every time we drive it, somebody will ask us, "So when are you going to paint it?" And then
You've got to just break their heart and tell them.
yeah, we get asked so many times when we're going to paint this thing, and it's kind of at first it's kind of annoying getting asked that because we weren't going to paint it, and then I don't know.
Now you just kind of laugh at them.
Yeah, now we just kind of laugh at them and go on, and so yeah, we don't ever plan on painting this thing. Now later on down the road it may change. I mean,
Yeah.
you can always take this and go to paint, and slick it out, but you can never go back to this
Yeah.
from once you paint it.
It's
it'd
only-
be original
yeah.
once. Well, it'd be in its like natural state
Yeah.
once,
It'd take it another 30 years to get to this point, you know.
and so yeah, the way this stuff is right now, these are as popular as trucks that are painted, probably more popular really. So we're just gonna take it like it is and go with it. So. As far as how we lowered this and what wheels and tires we put on it, it's the full Beltec. Started out as a 4.6, being 2-inch spindles, 2-inch coil springs in the front with just a flip kit in the back. And so we put all that on. I think we ended up rebuilding the whole front end of the thing when we
Yeah, new calipers, new brake
we ended up
lines.
rebuilding the whole front end once we had all that tore apart back when we done it. And so, done that, flipped in the back. I think we had to, you had to cut some braces or something.
Yeah, you got to cut a brace or wall,
You had to cut some stuff. You had to cut a bracket in there to get to the front bolt of the leaf spring.
just a little square, nothing
Nothing
structural.
serious. Yeah, it was just quick and out here and that. So, and as far as the wheels and tires we put on this, back at that time we were deciding. There was still a lot of wheels for these back then, just 4 years ago, and there's been a lot more come out since then. But at the time, I really liked these. Still really like them. They are a Vision Torque 143. They've got like a gunmetal gray face with a brushed lip on it. So they are running a 8.5 wide wheel all the way around. It's a square wheel setup. All four wheels the same. We're just running different size tire, running a 255/45 in the front and a 275/45 in the back. So slightly bigger tire in the back and slightly wider. Once we had lowered it, we drove this thing for 3 years up until last year, and then people were telling us that worked with us at the shop down there. They started telling us that it looked squatted, like the front end was higher than the back, but you put a level on it and it would be level, it would be leveled out. And so the more you look at it, it did kind of look slightly like it's squatted in the back, but the fender wells on these are actually lower in the back than is the front, so to kind of make it look like it is when it wasn't. And so we just solved all problems there and went back and put a 3-inch lowering spring in the front instead of a 2, and that helped it more than anything. That brought it down way lower.
And it's sitting right now.
Yeah, we'll throw some. I think we took several pictures of it once they had it like parked out in level ground when it was up like that, and when we actually lowered it, and so that helped it out a whole lot with that.
Making it a 5.6.
Yeah, well, technically it's a 5.6 now, but we believe with this thing having that hitch on it, it was probably used to pull trailers quite a bit, and so the leaf springs are not as stiff as they.
These probably should be,
Yeah.
or were from the
They're
factory.
I mean, they probably had some loads on them at some
Yeah.
point, so they're kind of wore out a little bit more than a normal spring would be, and so it's going to be sitting a little bit lower in the back, we're guessing, and so. But
It's probably sitting about like a 7 in the rear.
probably so. Something we didn't mention about the wheels is the center caps. I think these wheels came with just a flat center cap
Yeah.
for it, and then we seen a truck, I think, that had these on there, a picture of one, when we were looking at these wheels that had them, and I really liked them, still like them, and it's kind of a different.
Yeah, you don't see it
It's kind of
very
a different
often.
look on here. You don't see. I've never seen another one like that in person. I mean, I've just seen pictures of them, and so kind of like a knockoff looking
Yeah.
center cap. And that's our wheel tire suspension setup. And so I guess next we'll get to the interior of it. Like we said, when we bought this thing, it was. I mean, there was nothing usable in here except for these seats. These are still the original seats. We just never went back and had them recovered. We're going to at some point pretty soon here. Once we started driving it, we just never really took the seats out. We just left them in here and just drove it. So, and the wheel, we'll probably replace the steering wheel, just the same factory wheel. Just put a newer one in here just to brighten it up. Probably paint the column. And but I mean, other than that, everything in here is completely new with the dash pad, the dash trim, the door panels, all the pieces on the door panels, carpet. We actually made the rear door or rear panels here. At that time, I couldn't remember if you couldn't get them or.
I think they was just wanting a stupid amount of money for it.
Yeah, we were trying to just keep it as cheap as possible.
We was trying to get the interior in it, you know. And,
Yeah, we were trying to just get it in it and start driving it.
and there was a long wait time on them, and it just made sense to make some.
Yeah, so we made them and recovered them. It's almost the exact color of
Yeah, I
the material in here.
yeah, I
so-
kind of like it better than the factory too. It's
Yeah, they're just
kind of simple.
clean, flat. They're simple. And something else you notice, we've repainted the door jambs of this thing. We done that to kind of just make the inside look newer. We repainted the dash too. Our plan on this thing was to make the inside really nice and then make under the hood nice and then leave the body in like a, kind of rough shape and just drive it. And if something, if it gets
If it gets a little scratch, a little rock chip,
chip, gets a dent in it or something, you ain't got to worry about it and you can still drive it. Yeah, like we said, this was just ate with mice everywhere.
all the air ducts
Yeah,
and
all the
everything under the
vents.
dash, it was all packed full of mouse
And,
nests and everything.
This seat here, something about this seat,
You can kind of see
it's kind of when you're driving, it's like laid back.
like
And
you're taking a nap.
yeah, we got to fix that. I think the frame is broke somewhere in the seat, but we've never really messed with it. We hadn't, but we said we're gonna get these seats out and get them recovered pretty soon here before we take this thing anywhere this year. And so, yeah, we recovered the headliner also, just back white. I do like the whole top of this thing is white, and then everything under that is red.
Gives it a good contrast.
Yeah, and the red in the door jambs, that's actually the factory color of the original color of what it's supposed to be, and I know it does not match the outside now.
Yeah.
It's
On camera it looks real orange, but in person you can tell it's
we,
more red.
We done that purposely to match, or not to try to match the outside of the car. We done it to go back with the original color. That way it matched the dash, and then we'll probably paint the firewall that color under the hood, and then leave the rest of it like it is.
Yeah, I believe it's apple red is what they called it back then.
Now under the hood of this is everything's completely stock under here. We've done nothing to the motor of this thing. Well, the only thing mechanical we've done to this is when we first got it, we had to have the transmission rebuilt. It only had first gear, so it wouldn't go over like 25 or 30. Went and had it rebuilt, put it back in, and then
That's it.
that's it. That's all we've done to it. Have not touched the motor mechanically.
The old 305.
Yeah, just a 305 700R4. I mean, everything's worked well under here. We hadn't had to mess with it, like I said. You get this thing in overdrive, hitting it about 70. It'll hit overdrive and just go.
Chugs along, great gas mileage.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
really good gas mileage when it hits overdrive. And so that's about. I mean, it's really all to say under here. There's not much to say yet. And we'll just say that now. Our plans under here. I mean, from the beginning, really, we were planning on LS swapping this thing, and so it hadn't really ever worked out right at the time. The time hasn't been right yet since then. We've got multiple other projects already coming back together. We've torn down, going back together with them, and this one's kind of just been sitting here, which it's too good of a running truck to just tear it down and sit there for a couple months or even longer than that. We don't know. And so we're gonna get some other stuff we've got finished up, and then I'm hoping within the next year or so we'll have it LS swapped. And I'd preferably like to put a 6.0 in it with 4L80, and I'd rather find a motor, get it here, do everything we're going to it, get it painted, and then get it ready to go in here. That way it makes a swap a whole lot quicker. That way you don't have to tear everything out and then find a motor, paint it, put it in. So you're already a step ahead on that. Probably running a different inner fender in here. We're not going to completely shave the firewall. I mean, we're going to put vintage air on it. It's going to have a lot of the stuff won't be on it, but it won't be completely shaved.
Yeah, we're going to clean it up more.
It's gonna
shave
be
it.
Cleaned up more than it'll be shaved.
We'll still have the booster and the wiper motor and all that kind of stuff. It just
yeah, with that. You know what? It can stay up. Yeah, as far as where we've had this thing out at a show or kind of a meetup, anything, we've had it to kind of one of more of our local shows for the past 2 years. We've took it to that. It's never really been on a larger scale show or been at one, so hopefully this year we're planning on taking it to one of them up in Nashville. So hopefully you can come out to one of them. It'll more than likely it'll be up there with something else we've got, and so we're looking forward to getting it up there. Like we said, we'll have quite a bit more done to it before that time. And
we may be on a different set of wheels. We're not sure yet.
Possibly be on a different set of wheels. Not 100% sure on that. And I mean, nothing wrong with these wheels and tires. We've just got another set in here that we've got for another truck, and it won't be done by then. So this one may be running them. And
just kind of change it up a little bit.
Yeah, kind of a different look. So yeah, expect to see it. We're pretty hopeful it'll be out to one of the bigger shows this year, and so. It hadn't been out much to them at all. We need to get it out. It needs to be drove.
I mean, everywhere we go, I mean, people love it,
Yeah, I mean, you just don't see a two-wheel drive K5 that often. I mean, more of them are coming out now.
Let's just show them the wheels.
Like we said, the temporary set of wheels we may run on this is these here. We kind of talked about them a little bit in the last video, kind of just showed a picture of the box and stuff. And it's a set of Detroit Steel Del Rey's 20x9s, 20x11s with a Continental tire on them. And I love these wheels. I mean,
oh yeah,
great looking set of wheels. And so they may or may not go on there. We don't know yet.
Well, they're going on there no matter what. It's whether they go to the show with them on there is the question.
But them were not bought for this, just to be clear on that. They
Yeah.
were bought for another truck. We just hadn't got it done yet. So, that being said, I mean, that's about it on this one. That's kind of just a quick rundown of what we've done. And this thing's been in the background of a lot of other videos. And if you got any questions, ask them, comments about it. Just let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, let us know what you think about these wheels on there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
they look
I
good
think
on
they'll
there.
look good.
So, that being said, we got a lot more square body stuff coming, and I mean, we've got a lot of stuff planned. So,
Oh yeah.
a lot of stuff planned, more coming, a lot of square body stuff. And so, if you like this, like it, subscribe, and then we'll see you on the next one.